We all know the Mavic 3 is here, and with its dual camera setup, its way better battery life and flight time, its ProRes recording, its better photo capabilities, and so much more, you might be looking at your Mavic 2 now and thinking, wow, this thing wasn't as good as it was just a few weeks ago. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the case, and I'm also here to tell you why I'm choosing not to upgrade to the Mavic 3 in 2022, and why I'm keeping the Mavic 2 Pro for the foreseeable future, and why it's still such a good drone for the upcoming year. Now, before we get into this video, I did want to say yes, the Mavic 3 is better in every way, shape, and form, without a doubt. But just because one is better doesn't mean the other one is inherently bad. And that's the problem, especially with the whole upgrading psychology we have in today's world. But nonetheless, I wanted to get that off my chest because I understand that in every way, shape, and form, the Mavic 3 is a lot better. So the way I'm going to structure this video is in 5 parts. We've got image quality, extras and spares, controller, price, then we're going to sum it all up and talk about why you should at least look at keeping your Mavic 2 or buy one in 2022. All right, let's get into it. Image quality. Now, image quality is arguably one of the most important factors when it comes to drones. Now, the Mavic 3 provides a much better image when it comes to image quality in comparison to the Mavic 2 Pro. In saying this though, the Mavic 2 Pro was never bad in the first place, and it's actually still really good. Now, regardless if you're shooting video or photo, I'm going to use photo for this example, but if you're shooting either, you will see really good results, especially if the scene is well lit, and especially if you're using an aperture I find above f4. Anything under that just gets a little bit soft. Now yes, ISO performance on the Mavic 2 Pro was never too good, and that's not going to change. But like I said, if you shoot in nice bright conditions, you'll be absolutely fine. Now, sharpness isn't the only thing that constitutes a good image. It's made up by a whole bunch of things, and we're not going to cover them all, but another big one that I struggle with just a little bit was dynamic range. Now, dynamic range has been dramatically increased in the Mavic 3, but for me, that doesn't constitute a super huge upgrade. An easy way to get around this for photos, unfortunately this doesn't work for videos, is to just shoot HDR content. And that's basically taking the same image 3, 5, or 7 times, but with different exposure levels. And this way, you're gonna be able to pull back way more dynamic range than you would be able to just taking one photo on the Mavic 3, and you'll be stoked with the results. Extras and spare parts. Now, this is actually a really important factor to consider when buying a new drone. How much are propellers? How much are batteries? How much are filters? How much are controllers? How much are whatever? Now, the thing is, with the Mavic 3, not only do a lot of third-party companies not have products for them yet, but they're about to be a whole lot more expensive than the Mavic 2 ones. And that's awesome, because if you own a Mavic 2, you can either pick these up secondhand, or they're getting them out of their warehouses from places like Polar Pro or other filter makers, and that has just got a whole lot cheaper for you. Because you don't only need to consider the cost of the drone when buying it, you also need to factor in the little extras that come along. And believe me, you want to take extra batteries, extra propellers, and make sure you have a set of ND filters on your drone, especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can't charge, your lighting conditions are just totally different. Whatever the case, you run into a tree. Believe me, it's so nice to have little extras and spare parts with you. The controller. Now, I haven't actually held the controller of the Mavic 3, but from what I've seen in the photos, it's very, very similar to the Air 2S. Now, obviously there'll be some technical differences, but they kind of over-generalized look at it, and maybe the feel in the hand is quite similar. Now, I like this controller, I really do, but I prefer the Mavic 2 controller. The Mavic 2 controller just folds up so nicely, and it's so much smaller. I'm not sure about the weight differences, and I really don't think that's gonna play a huge part in your pack. But in saying that, the Mavic 2 controller is much smaller when it folds up in comparison to the Mavic 3 controller, and that's something to keep in mind if you're really trying to pack light, or not even pack light, just pack small, because believe me, it takes up a whole lot of space, and yes, you might be able to shove some stuff beside it, but the Mavic 2 controller is a lot easier to get from A to B. Next up is price. Now, this is where the Mavic 2 really shines. Unfortunately, DJI has taken the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom completely off their website. You can't buy them anymore, and I believe they are no longer making them. In saying this though, the secondhand market and the retailers that have overstocks of Mavic 2s are going to be your best friend, because everyone's trying to get rid of theirs at the moment, and when everyone puts their Mavic 2s on the market, the price drops, which is awesome. And if you can get it at a retailer for a pretty good price, like similar to secondhand price, you're gonna be getting a warranty, you're gonna be getting a manufacturer's guarantee, and all that good stuff that comes with buying brand new. And the thing is, a cheaper price gives you a lower barrier to entry into drone photography. Whether you're just starting out and you don't have a drone yet, or you're looking to step up from something like a Mavic Mini, this is a perfect choice for you because the Mavic 3 starts at 3,100 Aussie dollars and goes all the way up to 7,200 Aussie dollars, which is just insane. That is a lot of money, and obviously no beginner is looking to get that, but even the base model is very expensive. You can get a Mavic 2 on the secondhand market from anywhere between 1,500 and 1,800 Aussie dollars, depending on how good your negotiation skills are, and that is a much more palatable taste, especially if you're looking to step up into more of a professional drone photography or videography space, or even just expand your knowledge in drones and step up from, like I said, a Mavic Mini or something lower, more entry level. Now that's not to say that the Mavic 3 is a bad buy, because it's not, especially the Cine one. I know it's incredibly expensive, but if you're purely going to use it to the fullest potential and take advantage of all the new features, then it's worth the upgrade. But if not, and you can't stomach that, from $3,000 to $7,000 price range, it's not for you, and just go with the Mavic 2. And that sums everything up. And honestly, the Mavic 2 in 9 out of 10 situations is going to get you out of trouble and get some really, really clean images, regardless if you're shooting photo or video. Like I said, yes, the Mavic 3 is better, and it just always will be. It's the latest version, it's got the latest software, it's got the latest updates, it's got the latest hardware, everything about it is great. It's an awesome drone. And saying this though, at least for me, it does not constitute such a large upgrade in price. And the beautiful thing is as time goes on, as the drone gets older, the price will come down, and that is probably when I'll look at picking one up. But anyway, guys, that is gonna wrap up today's video. I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope you've learned something about drones and the Mavic 2 and the Mavic 3 comparison. If you have, let me know down below, and also let me know your thoughts. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and as always, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.